Hello there, friends. Today's March 17, 2024, and today we're going to take a peek at the top 10 Green Prizm rookie cards from the 2023 Prizm Football Set. As you can see, we do have graphs, we've got charts, we've got interpretations of recent comps, so we'll be establishing a fair value for this card, as well as first offer, second offer, final offers, and what I think this card should be priced at if I were to try to sell it. So hopefully you enjoy that. We've got a CJ Stroud, we've got an Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Will Levis, Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, Rashee Rice, Gibbs, and Hendon Hooker, and Achane to look at as well. First, of course, let's talk about the big boy, the big guy, CJ Stroud. His rookie card is obviously taking the league by storm. His Green Prizm is card number 339. On the right-hand side, for this card and all subsequent cards, we will have 15 recent comp sales, all collected through auction on eBay. Auction being the key word. I don't do any buy it now. I don't do best offers. I want to see people bidding back and forth on these cards to establish supply and demand. We'll also have a graph to take a peek at as well. In this case, we can see 107.50 was the low, 207.50 was the high, about 100% swing in this card. And that brings up a very important point. We're going to come up with what I would call fair market value for this card. That applies to cards that are in good shape. Let's just admit it. I like to only buy in person. That's just what I do. I like to see the card. I like to have it in hand. And that's when these numbers become important. When you can look at the card and make sure it has sharp corners, make sure its edges are nice and clean, make sure the surface isn't scratched, that's when these numbers make sense. So keep that in mind if you are looking to use them to purchase cards. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes here. So this is going to take a few moments to explain, but once we explain this CJ Stroud rookie card, all subsequent cards will go much faster. So bear with me. At the top here, we can see in the top right corner, PSA submissions. So far, there's been 58 submissions. 28 have come back at PSA 10. That's a 48.28% chance of getting a PSA 10. That's basically a coin flip, which is pretty impressive, right? That's a pretty high percentage rate. I'll be interested to see if that number starts to go down in the future. As far as the chart is concerned, again, our 15 comps listed here. At the bottom, we've got cells that have been changed in color. So this blue is going to be the average bid price that somebody had to pay in order to win this card. That comes to $137 flat. Next to it is going to be the average shipping they paid, so $3.67. And finally, we've got $140.67. That's your total average out the door in order to get one of these cards shipped to your house. I do not consider these numbers to be fair market value, though, because sellers have fees to pay, and those fees generally range between 13 and 15%. That's why I believe orange is going to be fair market value. This is what sellers are taking home after they pay their fees. That comes to $118.54 in this CJ Stroud rookie card case. I still, though, would like to get that card a little bit lower, and that's why I employ a stoplight offer system. Green, yellow, red. We know what those mean, right? So green is our first offer. It's a 70% offer, and it comes to $95.90. Now that's a 70% offer of the color blue. Keep that in mind. Yellow is my second offer, $102.75. That's a 75% offer, and red is usually my hard stop at $109.60, and that is an 80% price point of the color blue. So I also like to compare what will possibly get me into the bottom third of sales if I am buying. So we'll sort this column ascending, and we will drop down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 105.97 is what would get me into the bottom third of sales. So that falls right between yellow and red, and this then becomes my new final offer. I will not hit that 80% offer. This is my last number, 106 basically. We'll call it 106 flat is what I'm willing to go up to for a nice looking card for the CJ Stroud Green Prizm. If I'm looking to sell it or price it out, I go 5 from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 127.55. If I'm able to sell at that rate, I'm able to get about $21 in profit, which is a nice turnaround and I think I can swing that relatively fast. I don't like to hold on to things too long because then your chances of losing value go up. I like to keep my money moving. Also on the left-hand side, this highlighted number here, this would be what it would take for a buy it now offer online in order for you to make that same $21 in profit. So if you're looking to sell online, 147.38 would be my new buy it now option. All right, so that's what I think this card is worth. I'm willing to spend $106. I'd like to price it at about $127. I know fair market value is $118.54. All right, so now that one's done, the rest will go a lot faster. Next, we've got the Anthony Richardson rookie card. It's $343. As you can see, we've got a much more interesting swing. We've got a number of highs and a number of lows. $31 is our low, $76.72 is our high, about more than 100% swing, which means there's potential for some profit to be made on this card. Looking down below, once again, PSA submissions are 20. 6 have come back 10. That's a 30% rate. Lower than the CJ Stroud rate, but again, we're not dealing with that many right now, right? I'd like to see where that goes as more begin to pile in, and I assume that we'll be seeing that happening relatively quickly here. $44.62 is your average bid price for the winning bid. $38.41 is average take-home for sellers. First offer is $31.23. Let's take a look and see where the bottom third lies for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $30.93. So it looks like those two high marks actually brought our averages up pretty easily. So because of that, I'm saying that the green $31.23 is now my first and final offer. I'm not going to go any higher than a 70% of the blue over on the left. All right, that's what I think this card is worth. From the bottom, 42 would be the top third of sales, which equates to a $48.88 buy it now. This card has the potential for about an $11 profit swing, which is pretty good. And I think you could turn that pretty quickly as well. Bryce Young is next. A low of 10.50, a high of 34.35. Massive swing from high to low. Again, this is probably a quality concern, but I like to incorporate even the worst and the best because I feel like they kind of average each other out. That's why I don't just take the best. I kind of take as many as I can see. And one other thing I do like to note, these are all comps that I take that are from within the United States. I'm not going to get into other countries and why I don't buy from them. Sometimes it's just too much of a pain in the butt. Also, the shipping fees tend to be quite higher. So I think you get a better idea of what the card is when you don't have to pay those exorbitant shipping fees. Next, down below here, blue is going to be average bid. That's $23.01. Average seller take home $19.66. First offer is $16.11, and bottom third is going to be $17.48. That falls just a little bit above the second offer yellow, which was $17.26. So $17.48 is my new final offer. That's what I'm willing to go to. I'm not, again, going to be going to that red stoplight. That's not going to happen. $17.48 is what I'm willing to pay for it. And then 5 from the bottom, $20.95 is what I would be pricing it at, netting me about, a $3.50 profit margin. And that equates to $24.50 as a buy it now. PSA submissions, we have 15. 4 came back at a 10, 26.67%. About half, almost half that return rate that the CJs are seeing right now. But again, not a huge population to consider. Will Levis next. This one a little bit more under control than those Bryce Youngs. 11.01 was a low, 23.50 the high. Again, 100% swing gives me an opportunity to make some profit. This is card number 397. Blue is going to be 16.02. That's what average bid is going to be. 13.60 is your seller take home. That's going to be fair market value. 11.21 is first offer. And sort ascending. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 11.41 is going to get me in the bottom third. That becomes my new hard stop. Last offer, $11.41. Falls between 70 and 75%. Selling it for $14.52. gets me about a $3 profit margin. 1708 is your buy it now. Puka Nacua, low of 1350 on the graph, 29 as the high. We're looking at about, I'm almost like, let's guesstimate about 150% swing. That's where things start to get a little interesting. We'll see if my percentages hold up. This is card number 357. We have seen 30 submissions, 17 PSA 10s, 56.67% return rate. That's similar to that CJ Stroud return rate. 20.79 average bid price, 17.74 average take home for sellers. 14.50 is going to be the first offer, and let's see if we're above or below that first offer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So 15.75 actually falls right between the yellow and the red. That is my new final offer. 15.75, not again going to make it to that final offer 80% price point. 5 from the bottom, $20.09 would net me about $4.25 at a $23.50 buy it now. Bijan Robinson, 305. This card has some chaos to it, obviously. $3 is your low, $10 is your high. Big swings with people trying to find the perfect card. And that's what happens when you've got cards that are priced a little bit lower. If they're going to go after this card and waste the time and the effort, they're going to want to get the perfect one. And they're kind of willing to pay for the perfect one. So make sure if you are listing on eBay, you get good pictures. Get good pictures of your good card so that people really want it. Down beneath here, we've seen 5 PSA submissions. 2 have come back at a 10. That's a 40% rate so far. $6.23 average bid. 5.10 is going to be your average take home for sellers. 4.36 is going to be a first offer, and I'm betting we'll fall below that as well. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $4.03, yes. So we are below the green, so that means the green is my final offer. $4.36 is what I'd be willing to pay for a nice version of this card. Keyword, nice version of the card. And then I'd be willing to list it for $6.21, netting about $1.80 or so. At a $7.50, buy it now. Next up, Rashee Rice. Even more chaos with this one. Look at that. Look at that graph. This is card number 350. $3.50 actually right there, same as his number, is going to be your low, and then we've got a high of $15.50. This is going to be an interesting interesting price outlook. This right here pretty much automatically tells me that I'm probably not going to be in on this card. This is too much chaos for me to be all that interested, but we'll take a look. Down beneath here, we've got the blue, 767. Interesting. That is significantly higher than that Bijan, right? Yep. So it's 623 was Bijan. 767 is going to be your average there. So 635 average take home for sellers. $5.37 is going to be your first offer. And we're going to drop down 5 from top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, $3.39 gets you into the bottom third of sales. When this number deviates so far from that 70% price point, that's when I drop out. That's when I'm not interested in buying the card. I'm sorry to say it. That is too much chaos for me to undertake. That is too much inconsistency. Unless I can find a really, really good deal, which, is unlikely for a perfect card, I just don't do it. But say I did buy it for the green, $5.37, and sold in the top third, that's $7.51. Could theoretically net you a couple dollars on a $9 buy it now. But again, not interested in getting in this card, unfortunately. Once things settle out and those averages get a little bit tighter, sure, I'll consider it. But for now, no thank you. PSA submissions are sitting at 13. They've come back 10 or 7 as a PSA 10. That's a 53.85% return. Gibbs, look at that. We got another high, $20.50. Somebody really wanted that card. My goodness. $5.50 is going to be your low, so a massive swing on that. Let's see, that probably will impact our percentages quite a bit. This is card number 331. PSA submissions. We have 19 submitted. 18 have come back a PSA 10. Wow, that is Very interesting. All right. So very clearly, we've got a nice clean run on these greens. 94.74% coming back as that PSA 10. Average bid price $9.23. $7.71 is going to be your seller take home. $6.48 is going to be your first offer. And let's see if we can even get anywhere near that card again to see if we have any interest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not too bad, actually. So that means that for me, this card is in play. $6.21. Final offer for me would be $6.48, and selling in the top third, $8.38, netting me, $2 or so. That's a $10 buy it now as well. So I did not expect to be in on this card based upon these statistics, but looks like that large swing up here, that $20.50, didn't have too huge of an impact on the averages where it would take me out of play. Okay, interesting. Next up, we've got a Hendon Hooker. This one, card number 329, 1550 as the high, 425 as the low. Let's take a look at the numbers. 3 have been submitted to PSA, 2 have come back at a 10, 66.67% return rate. Average bid $749, seller take home $620, first offer $529. And let's see if the chaos is going to kick me out of being interested in this card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. $5.14, not too bad. Pretty close to the first offer green. So I'm in play on this card at $5.24. From the bottom, $7.07 would net you about $1.80 or so at an $8.50. Buy it now. Last but not least, we've got the Bijan Achane, I think it is. I've heard so many ways of pronouncing it, but I was looking it up recently, and I think it's Achane, but I don't know. We'll see. 365 is going to be the number on this, and there's a reason why this one was last. This graph drives me crazy. This is crazy. 225 is a low, 1050 is the high, multiple ones at the 10, multiple ones at this bottom low. Just based upon this graph, the way it looks, I'm not playing ball. It's too crazy for me. I'm not interested normally, but we'll take a look at it anyways. 13 PSA submissions, 8 have come back at a 10, 61.54%. Average bid $579, average take home $472, first offer $405, and our bottom third, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 209 gets you in the bottom third. Again, that is nowhere near this green number, which means I am walking away from this card. I'm not in on this one. I'm not going to be playing ball. If I bought in at 209 and sold at 707, sure, I'd make $5 profit. But this card, not my cup of tea. So because of that, sorry, Davon, we're going to see you another day. I know, lots of football to be played, so hopefully we can make an impact and see that graph settle out a little bit. But obviously, CJ Stroud is the card to go after in this set, but there's plenty of others that are certainly proving interesting as well. You've got that Anthony Richardson, nice price point to get graded. Not that many out there as well. Bryce Young, of course, always going to be a little bit interesting. I like the thought of the Puka, this $20.79 average or the $15 basically first offer is kind of in a sweet spot as far as finding some deals and potentially getting it graded and seeing that profit margin increase. But so CJ Stroud for me and Puka Nacua are my 2 targets within these 10 rookie cards today. Hopefully this video, I know it was long, I know it was involved, I know it was nerdy, but hopefully it helped you to find the value for your cards, as well as give you some pre-planning options if you're going to a card show or a shop in order to look for these cards. Again, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Make sure that you're educated on these cards before you spend your money, because at any point in time, they could go up, but they could also certainly go down. So invest wisely, my friends. Take care.